I'm the one that actually does the presentations on Monday, so a very warm and heartfelt welcome. Others are still joining us on the call, but you know, when it comes to this particular one, I'm always good to go and we don't waste any time. So thank you for joining us and thank you for being with us. I've connected myself here as well, just in case the signal goes. Special greeting to those of you joining us on Facebook as well. Always glad to have you every Monday. If you are watching this on YouTube, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. And then also click the notifications bell, and that should be able to make sure you do not miss any of the uploads that I put up there. So whether it's you can click for some notifications or you can click for all notifications and you'll be notified every time we upload. So we should be uploading 2 shows shortly. This particular one, which you're already watching as we speak, and there's also one I did on tithe on Facebook, at my show on Prosperity Insights every Thursday. That should be available as well. I will upload that as well, and you can be able to follow that particular one. At the same time, I also did a very, very interesting show on the 7 capitals needed to get started in business. We might do it as a series later on this platform, but for now, I will be uploading that sometime this week as well. So for myself, I'm glad to see all of you here. Like I said, apologies, I did not send out my usual messages. So there you have it. I mean, those who come on this call will come on, those who don't won't. But either way, we're glad to have you. And today, without further ado, let me jump straight into my lessons. I have been teaching on the subject of military leadership principles. So the military leadership principles have ran for a while. And today we are actually going to be looking at 2 others. We will be looking at, hold on, let me just confirm. We'll be looking at being decisive and we'll be looking at showing determination. So 2, which we'll study today. But before that, we looked at a whole bunch of others. I'll list them for you. Number 1, lead from the front. So all great leaders always lead from the front. So they don't lead from the back. Bosses are the ones who lead from the front. Send out your men and then shout and give orders from the back. Number 2, have self-confidence, not egotism. Self-confidence and egotism have a very thin line, but great leaders have self-confidence. So in other words, there's no way you're going to make people follow you if you don't believe in yourself. Number 3, have moral courage. There are going to be times when you'll be faced with great dilemmas of a moral nature, and it'll be up to you to stand up for what is right and face the fire in proving your principles as a leader. Very, very challenging. A lot of people find that very scary. In fact, the majority of people, my experience has shown, do not have moral courage. They would rather cower in the face of any kind of challenge. Example, without doubt, has got to be the story of Pilate. Pilate was warned by his wife when dealing with Jesus. He was told, have nothing to do with this man, for he's a holy man. The wife had seen in a dream who Jesus was, and she was very afraid, and she told the husband, don't do anything with this man. Now, he tried his best to have him freed, but the throng, the leadership, the religious leaders put pressure and said, we will tell Caesar about this. You're no friend of Caesar if you do this. Yada, 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 da, 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 da. In the end, all the man could do was wash his hands and say, you know what? I wash my hands of this man and his blood. And of course, we all know the leaders of the day said, let his blood be upon us and on our children's children. So literally they brought this curse on themselves, but that's not the topic. The topic here is moral courage. How many of you have moral courage? All right, so that's a very, very powerful topic. Number 4, have physical courage. There are times when you have to put your very life on the line to stand for what you believe in. And we saw that, for example, with so many examples in our past of our leaders who've had to face physical discomfort, including going to jail because of what they believed in. And so these things, some, of course, Zambia is a bit fortunate. We haven't had actual slayings and killings, but some countries we've seen leaders being shot and killed, being arrested and locked up and disappearing. This is what we're talking about, physical courage. Are you willing to put your life on the line for what you believe in? Then foster teamwork. There is no I in team. I love that. There is no I in team. So together, everyone achieves more. That's what team stands for. So great leaders foster teamwork. They realize that everybody brings a component of success into what they're doing. Number 6, have fitness and energy. You must show that you are on the ground every single day, picking up that shovel, shoving debt, rolling up your sleeves and your trousers and getting in the mud, in the trenches with your men and women. But the point is, you are there on the ground proving that you're sold to what you're doing. That's a very powerful principle that a lot of leaders must show. Never, the best way to teach is to show it. That's what they say. Best way to teach is to show it. If you don't show it, it never works. So in great leadership, it begins with what? With telling people. All right. So after you've told people what to do, then next you show them what to do. Then after you show them what to do, that means you're on the trenches and they're watching you. Then you collaborate with them. So that means they do part, you do part. Then the 4th stage is you let them run and you watch them. And then finally, the 5th one is you hand over completely to them. So I love the concept of fitness and energy, being on the ground, showing them. And then number 7, be aggressive and bold. Have that boldness of a lion, that you do not fear or cower back from uncomfortable situations. And in leadership, you will have uncomfortable situations. That's a guarantee. There are times you will have to confront issues and tell people the reality. Bad leaders go around in circles and never get round to effectively and boldly, bring to the fore issues that are not comfortable. So a lot of leaders would rather defer, be diplomatic. There are times you cannot be diplomatic. You have to bring it to the table. Use wisdom, of course. Wisdom saves a lot, but you have to be firm. So when there's an issue, don't defer it. Don't put it off. Don't ignore it. Don't leave it, because it will come back to haunt you tomorrow. That's why you have to be aggressive and be bold. That's what great leadership does. Then number 8, take care of your soldiers. Eat last. That's the one I've been singing about throughout in this series. Eat last. Great leaders eat last. They don't eat first. Bad leaders, bad bosses, bad supervisors, bad top dogs are the ones who eat first. So they would rather they got paid first and watch their people suffer in the name of, well, the money has come and I'm the leader, so let me eat first. That's what bad leaders do. Great leaders eat last. They would rather everybody in their team is taken care of first before themselves. That's what great leaders do. Number 9, be a student of the past. Okay, learn from your predecessors. Why do you want to reinvent the whole entire wheel when you can simply go and learn? This is one of the areas that I find very sad about our type of governance here in Africa, Zambia specifically. We are experts at throwing out babies with the bathwater. We do not learn from those who go before us. And for me, that's extremely unfortunate, because what ends up happening, you end up with a situation where you have far more learning and redoing everything. Every project starts from zero. Every project starts from zero because you get rid of all the people. So you get rid of the leaders, you get rid of the principles, you get rid of the connections and the institutional memory. So of course, if you're going to get rid of all that, you might as well be starting from one, because you don't know what they were doing. Why not learn? Why not glean knowledge from those that go before you? And that's why for me, I'm big for institutional strengthening, because for me, that's the key to getting rid of this nightmare. Repeat, repeat, reset, repeat, reset, repeat. We're always resetting. That's why we never progress. Even where great things strides were being made, we start a reset. It's another reset. It's another reset. Why don't we learn to kind of like glean what can be gotten? And the only way this can happen is when we start having professionalism. So great leaders learn from the past. Don't come and reinvent the wheel when others have already gone. How far did they go? What were the big projects? What were the big strides that were achieved? And if there were strides achieved, what are the principles in those particular achievements, and who can be connected to? And if there's anything suspicious, well, deal with the suspicious stuff, but don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. So number 10, we're looking at being decisive today. And that's another very, very serious thing. I think I talked about this last time. In fact, I did. Yeah, I did. I said that, you know, the very fact that if one is undecided is already bad enough. If one goes, the inability to make a decision is already a decision in and of itself. We've been taught that. So today we are actually looking at the next one, which is show determination. I'm hoping to finish today. And so let's begin with show determination. You are never beaten until you admit it. General Patton, the great General Patton Jr. That's one of the great generals of World War II from the US, okay? When it comes to leadership, you don't just keep it inside or even say it. You show it. Don't just speak it, show it. This means that when placed in a position of leadership, you cannot afford to do what I hear many speak of today, being in touch with your feminine side. Now, that's in no way trying to belittle anything about emotionalism and showing emotion. That's a good thing. But you have to always show boldness, okay? Whilst it may be good to cry and let your emotions run free, it is not always wise, okay? Especially when you lead many different types of people that expect a show of confidence and determination in the face of great adversity. Scripture has a very powerful sort of like advice for this. It says, all things are permissible, but not all things are beneficial. So yes, it's permissible to be emotional, but it's not always beneficial to be emotional at particular times. There are times you must show strength, okay? There are times you must show strength. Don't show weakness. I think one of my favorite, I was just watching Lord of the Rings the other day, and these, Gandalf and Aragorn and all these leaders were at, I think, one of the greatest bastions of humans. I think it was Helm's Deep or something. I can't remember where they were. And the armies of the dark were coming and marching in. And when the king, in fact, he's not a king, I don't know if he's a king, whatever he was, when he saw how bad the situation is, he was so afraid. You know what he said? He just started screaming, telling people, run for your lives. We've been defeated. Every man for himself. It is the end. And it's like, what kind of orders are those? And you know what Gandalf did? He just went and knocked him out. Just literally knocked him. And that's how he passed out. And then he got up and said, every man to his sword. Go back to your positions. Let us fight the enemy. And he does a scream of war and everybody, moves. Now you imagine that. So that was a leader up there. And the leader is shouting, run for your lives. We have no way of defeating the enemy. You don't do that, not as the leader. No wonder Gandalf just knocked him out with his wand and just gave another order, which was to tell the men to go and fight. So when you're a leader, it doesn't matter how afraid you are. It doesn't matter how freaked out you are. You never, ever give in. Now, in the film Saving Private Ryan, there's a scene where Captain Miller, played by Tom Hanks, makes a decision to disarm some snipers who would pose a great danger to any future Allied forces that would find themselves at that place. Now, this decision was greatly opposed by his band of soldiers because as they put it, it was not their mission. Theirs was to save Private Ryan. But being the leader, he went ahead and gave the order to proceed with the task. Now, whilst they did indeed neutralize the danger, it came at a loss to one of their members, T4 Medic Wade, which is played by Giovanni Ribisi. And this scene is heart-wrenching because he dies calling for his mother. And in spite of how painful this was, Captain Miller, with a straight face, gave orders for his burial and then leaves the scene and goes somewhere private where he breaks down and weeps deeply but quietly. Very touching scene to watch. And after he gets a hold of his emotions, he wipes away his tears and goes back as if he had never been affected by it. Now, do you see? Captain Miller did that to paint a picture, okay? You see, as one watches, we're led to sympathize with him because it was a call for which some of the men indicated they had bad feelings about it. But this was ignored. And so he carried the burden of a good decision, but with a terrible toll, the death of one of the men under his care. Okay? And this perfectly ties in with being decisive and sticking with the decision, even if the cost is very high, unless it is no longer logical to maintain such a stand. So if you're a leader One not only leads from the front, but they must maintain a bold, courageous, determined exterior, okay? It is very critical for the sake of the people you are leading. Leadership will always call for the abandonment of selfish egotism, for selflessness that cares about the others more than about self. And Captain Miller in Saving Private Ryan had to maintain such an exterior for their sake. This applies to all aspects of leadership, whether you are a husband and father, whether you're a supervisor, whether you're a line manager, whether you're a director or even CEO. In any organization, always be the example and always project that strong and determined exterior. In our circles, we are always taught, never, hear me, and I want you to really think this through as I mention it, never complain or express disappointment to your juniors. I'll say that again. Never complain or express disappointment to your juniors. In other words, those who are subordinate to you, those whom you are leading, never ever gripe to them. Do not complain to them about whatever is going on in your situation. All complaints go upwards, all praises go downwards. Get that? So if you're in a church, you're the leader, and then you've got a disciple under you. You never complain to the disciple about problems in your church or your leadership. Never. Okay? That's very important. If you are a boss in a company, a director, and then you have a junior, never complain about the issues going on in the company to that junior. You never do that. Every time when it comes to leadership, that's where you gripe. So always complain upwards. Always take problems upwards. But when it comes to downwards, take praises, take good news, take things that are positive. And if there's nothing good to say, keep quiet. And if a junior comes to complain to you, accept, because they are now doing it the correct way. And tell them, is this what you've observed? That's a very good observation. Thank you for that observation. What we'll do, we'll work on that. Please keep it to yourself. I will inform you in due course. Any issues, remember to come to me. So make sure you seal it so that it doesn't spill sideways or worse off, downward. So anybody watching me today on this show, on this presentation, and you are a leader and you complain to people under you, you're doing it wrong. If you're a husband, things are rough, things are bad. There are certain things you don't go, and I know we have this transparency, everything must be open, you're partners with your wife. I agree, you're partners. But there are certain aspects where you are the leader, you're the man. Be the man. That's a tough one, eh? Be the man. Don't bring that feministic stuff. You start crying in front of your wife. What kind of man are you? Unless you married a really strong-hearted woman. But you know what? Women are the ones who do the crying. Men are the ones who do the shoulders to lean on. That's generally how this thing has worked. So if you switch that around, my friend, the fallout, you won't like that fallout. All righty. So we go to number 12. Be strong of character. This is the last one, and we close with this. And a very, very powerful statement right there. Be strong of character. Duty, honor, country. That's General Douglas MacArthur, by the way. He says, duty, honor, country. Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, and what you will be. So duty, honor, country. You see, these are values, okay? So let's look at those, okay? So we begin with character. Such a strong and powerful attribute, okay? It is the difference between being inspirational and being repulsive, okay? Great leaders are always inspirational because their character is such that they project a great sense of duty. This means those attributes we all like to tout, but aren't who we are most of the times, become such a big deal. I shall share some character traits that are expected of great leaders. So let's go through them very, very quickly as we wind up. Number one, integrity. This is perhaps one of the most important character traits of any leader. That implies being whole and complete in and out. It is a critical trait because it implies that what one is in private is almost what they are in public. In short, what we see is what we get. Such tend not to have any hypocrisy because what displeases them about someone shall be dealt with in front of that person. In short, they do not backbite, they do not two-faced. They are also very strong when it comes to their convictions and rarely falter about them. A very important trait when it comes to making tough decisions during times of crisis. So when you are a leader, your character, especially integrity, is everything. Don't be one thing in front of people and another behind them, because I tell you, it will kill your people. Don't be a hypocrite, in short. Don't be an actor. What you are in private is who you should be in public. Yesterday, Pastor Simon, our pastor, was preaching about leadership and about callings, and he was saying, you know, if there's one person that knows a pastor inside out, it's the wife. And he gave a very good example. He said he was telling his wife that you ought to know our pastor for yourself. You need to have a relationship with our pastor beyond just me. Yes, I'm a pastor, I'm a leader to you, I'm your head, but at the same time, you also owe it to me. That the day you see me drift out of character, the day you see me do things that are out of trait, where you begin to realize that this man is backsliding, you should be able to pick up a phone and say, hey, pastor, listen, this man, that's your son in the Lord, this pastor I'm with here, he's changing. You know, this and that and that and that is happening. Now, you see, by a wife doing that, I mean, she knows you and knows me more than anybody else. When she does that, then that pastor is able to now confront me as the leader and help me back in trait. You see, that's what character is about. Character is being able to be what you ought to be, regardless of the circumstances, especially integrity. Number two, we talked about it, determined. What they decide to do, they stick with it. Are you the type who, once you make a decision, you stick with your decision? Of course, always ready to stand to be corrected, open to being corrected, but you are determined. A lot of people are very wishy-washy. Here today, tomorrow there. Here today, tomorrow there. They are never decided about anything. That's why they are never solid. Thirdly, are you focused? Okay, so instead of pursuing many different things, they zero in on one and really become good at it. When given alternatives, they think through, pick what they believe is the best course of action, then focus and stick with it. So this ability to be focused as a leader is everything. Number four, they are disciplined, okay? They are sticklers for staying the course through a regular and predetermined set of actions. They don't wait for inspiration. They don't wait for motivation. They don't wait to be told by somebody above them. They don't do stuff when they're in the mood. Theirs is to show up and get to work. Show up and get to work. That's what discipline is. They pick a set of actions and repeat until further notice. Such trait is what inspires those that work for them and emulate what they see. See, a maid is only as clean as her boss or supervisor. All persons only do just enough to get away with it because many are inherently lazy. So, if the maid's boss is lazy, even the hardest working maid shall inevitably slow down to what is acceptable. Humans just work to what is acceptable and they leave it at that. So great leaders are pace setters. That's what it is. You are a pace setter, and that is why they have to be disciplined when it comes to their desired outcomes and the corresponding necessary tasks that make them occur. So being a pace setter. We go on, they are consistent, okay? This is the tendency to keep doing something without relenting. It's a bedfellow to discipline, for it is not possible to be consistent without being disciplined. One could say it's the fruit or result that comes from discipline. So if consistency is the brick and mortar, then discipline is the foundation. So the discipline is the foundation, the consistency is what comes on top, okay? And then they are also committed. That's the quality of staying on in any cause and never backing out. There is a difference between being committed and being involved. Involvement is like an affair, here today, gone tomorrow. Yet commitment is being available for the long haul and staying there regardless of the cost. Here's an illustration. A chicken and a pig at a farm where happened to spot their owner serving up breakfast that consisted of egg and bacon, right? Now the chicken then showed off to the pig how she is contributing to the nutritional value of the farmer and his family. After reflection, the pig said, "Indeed, you are contributing, no doubt about that. However, yours is an involvement in that contribution, whilst for me and my kind, it's a commitment, because we have to lay our very lives for that to happen. Wow. Wow. See, an affair is an involvement, whilst marriage is a commitment. That is why very few want to get married. Great leaders are committed to their cause and are always willing to lay their lives for them. What character traits are you known for? And that's what I want to end here. And I want to kind of throw this to you as you watch in the last few minutes. What character traits are you known for? What leadership principles do you hold on to? If many of our leaders across this vast continent even had half of the attributes I've just shared, we would be speaking a different story when it comes to who we are as a continent and our wealth. And so I want to, close on that note. What are you doing yourself? How much are you working on these principles? Okay. So very, very powerful. And it's so important to really kind of nail this and bring it home and ask yourself as an individual, what have you paid to be the great leader you are? I've seen Auntie Sylvia has typed something very powerful. She says that leadership is what I will be talking about in family and home. How courageous are we to lead from the front? The trail of activities you share with your difficult children, so you know how they, the trail of activities you share with your difficult children, so you know how they die. Will your child die in your hands, or will you be wondering how your child has died? Having an open mind to share challenges with children before they die or kill you. Change is possible, but how? Mindset change process is critical. Join the call tomorrow. She's definitely talking about something very powerful. And obviously, Auntie Sylvia will come and kind of wrap up because I'm pretty much done. But my big challenge to you, as we've gone through all the 12 traits of characteristic traits or characteristics of military leadership, you've looked at every one of them. You've got to ask yourself with this last one I just raised. Are you what you claim to be? And you see, when we go back to that, the big issue is, are you strong of character? People think this character thing is a small issue, that, hey, well, don't do what I do, do what I say. What you do is far more powerful than what you say, always. That's why children model by what they see. And you know what they see? Your actions. So if you tell a person, don't smoke, it's bad for you, but you smoke every day, believe me, your smoking habit will be far more impressionable than what you say. If you tell people don't drink every day you're drinking, you're sending conflicting messages. They will go with what they see. If you tell a person be honoring and faithful to your wife and spouse, but they see every day you insult, you talk down on your spouse, they will just copy what they see. So that's a really tough one, eh? So Auntie Sylvia, what is it that you're sharing tomorrow as we wrap up now? You could come through and just kind of do the wrap up because I saw you shared that. I'm done already for my series. Next week, we're on to something very exciting, but your last words.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rev. I get so touched when we talk about leadership and leading from the front. And what I was trying to share, what I want to speak about tomorrow is just the experience that I've had this last week when I've been at a funeral. And when you are leading from the front, and sometimes it's not our fault that our children turn out to be who they have become, but once we accept and lead from the front, would be able to either save ourselves or save, our children. But what has happened is that sometimes we'll be seeing what is going on, and we don't get involved. We say, oh, this child is big, they will sort themselves out. And it turns out that you are the one who is suffering in the end, because you even start missing the bad behavior, because they are no longer there, to share. Because sometimes when you start to miss them, and then they will show up. But when they die, they have died, and you just start now to speak about, even the good or the bad that they did. And it's just so sad that sometimes we know what to do, but we are not doing it. So this is why we must shift and start to talk about things that we want to happen. And the things that we want to happen depends on the leadership that we are putting across. And this leadership is what is so challenging if we keep on doing the same things every day. And this is why we must change. We must now change to start to lift the positive things or the strength in our children so that we can we can turn the challenges into opportunities to do something different. And this is what I would like to talk about tomorrow, because this is real business that is affecting our children. And this is real business that why we are not making it, it's because we are stuck in this thing that it's not possible to do anything. This child, it's not possible for them to do anything. We have labeled them. And so they keep on doing the same thing so that they know that this is the way I am. How can we change that? It's through the activities that we know are going to help. So what are these activities is what we must share, what we are going to share tomorrow. So have a good day and hope that everyone will pick up something that is positive in their children, in their spouses, in their neighbors, in anyone that is around you, so that we can make a better life. Have a good day.